Hey there, I'm glad you're here at Seaver Shoots, back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about something that I have been putting rounds through for almost a year now, and that is my DeadAir Nomad. And the claim that I'm going to make here is that this is the best multi-caliber can that you can get as your first suppressor, and we're going to go over why that is. This thing is about 2,000-ish rounds in, and that is divided between a good amount of 300 Blackout, a good amount of 6.5 Creedmoor, and definitely more, probably 1,000 of those rounds are 223 556. But before we get into this amazing suppressor, we're going to talk about some affiliates. One of my favorites is Lem's shoes. So this is a new offering from Lem's. It is their Boulder Summit Nitro. So Lem's had a boot out before called the Boulder boot, and a lot of people really liked the Boulder boot. They liked the way it looked, they liked the way that it felt. It had all of your barefoot style attributes to it, but it just wasn't quite rugged enough, and especially the sole wasn't aggressive enough. So not too long ago, Lem's came out with a boot called the Outlander, and that is a very rugged hiking style boot. I've actually been using it for the last 6 months, put about 2,000 miles on it, and released 2 reviews here on the channel for you about the Outlander specifically. And it held up fantastic through those 2,000 miles, and especially the grippiness is really what impressed me, especially out in the snow where I got to do lots of hiking with the Outlander. Now, the thing that's important about that is they took that sole and they put it on their Boulder boot, updated the look a little bit. Obviously, these don't look exactly like the original Boulder boot. And then they made it completely waterproof and have come out with a really well-rounded, extremely light, barefoot style hiking boot. So I'm extremely excited to put this through its paces. I've worn it a little bit here and there this winter, especially out shoveling, and it's been kind of my going and coming boot. I haven't put it through any serious stuff so far. Definitely going to use it hiking, but I'm very excited about this. If you are interested in getting healthier, stronger feet that do more for you, then Lem's is going to be the shoe brand that you want to look into. Go ahead and head down to the link in the description. If you like these specifically, because they're gorgeous, how can you not like them? Then these will be there on the website, but they also have shoes that are more low cut for hiking. They have shoes that are for trail running. They have shoes that are just for every day and for relaxing. And I believe they even have dress shoes as well that have those wide toe boxes, the zero drop that people are starting to finally realize how important it is. Again, head down to the link in the description and go shop around on the Lem's website. The next affiliate that I want to talk about really fast is Axle Ear Pro. They make fantastic earbuds. Their GS Extreme 2.0s are my go-to for just about everything. I use them for the gym, I use them for running, I use them for the gun range. They're rated to reduce decibels by 29, which is above most other brands. I've got a pair of Walker over ears, and those are only rated for 23. So the Axles absolutely blow them out of the water. Your hearing is important, but it's also important that your products do multiple things. They are Bluetooth capable, active listening, all the things you could want. Extremely light and low profile. I love them. There's no going back once you try these out. They retail for around $200, but usually they're doing a sale. So go and check out their website through the link down in the description. And if they're not doing a sale, use Seaver Shoots at checkout, and that'll save you 15%. Now, let's get into the video. DeadAir Nomad. This is a 30 cal suppressor. As you can see on the side, it says Nomad 30 762 millimeters. So it's going to be good for you all the way up to, I believe it's rated for 300 Win Mag. I think this would actually do a really good job at wrangling that signature. of 300 Win Mag. I have only used it up to 6.5 Creedmoor, and it's beautiful on that, and you will see that in this video. But let's start with a couple of the specs. So with the Xeno attached, it's a little bit more than 6.5 inches long. So not crazy long. We're not into the 7s or the 8s. And then let's talk about the diameter, because I think that's important. And the diameter is 1.75, which is quite a bit girthier than a lot of your other cans that come in usually around 1.5 inches in diameter. But I think that is one of the reasons why this suppressor works so well, is because of its volume. It has a really good tone, and I think that diameter is what provides that nice low tone that it provides. It's definitely the sharpest signature that I get out of this is from my 223 5.56, my primary weapon systems Mark 111 Pro. And then on 300 Blackout, it's just about dead quiet, and on 6.5 Creedmoor, it is what seems to me completely hearing safe. Again, we will do some video for you of signatures, but first I want to talk about like weight and length and how the signature of this can that it adds to your firearm actually isn't all that nuts. So let's start with my primary weapon systems Mark 111. So this is actually an 11.85 barrel, so almost 12 inches. I've got the DeadAir Xeno mount and the Xeno brake on here, so it is left-hand threaded, kind of funky. But when we throw that on there, not too crazy. It does not make this thing ridiculously unwieldy like some other suppressors might, some longer suppressors. And again, I think it sounds fantastic. Now let's go ahead and pop this guy off of here and throw it on to our next host. So this is my Tika T3X in 6.5 Creedmoor. Same brake, Xeno brake up here, so no changes at all. Now this one, obviously, I'm going to scoot my chair back just a bit further, but I can get the whole thing in the frame, and it doesn't feel like it's adding a significant amount of weight to the front there. But as you can see, definitely adds length. There's no way it's not going to, but it's not crazy unwieldy. It's not making this thing crazy long. I think the Nomad L actually might just be a little too long for my taste, but we won't know till we try it. Now I'm actually going to pop off the Xeno mount because I don't have one for my 300 Blackout just yet, so that we can get this thing on there. So I actually have the direct thread mount that comes with the suppressor attached to my 300 Blackout, and I just leave it there. And then when I want to put the Nomad on, I take off the Xeno mount and I just direct thread it onto the mount itself. And what it does is it creates a really short, compact little setup. So this is a 7.5 inch barrel. And then that DeadAir Nomad there on the end, you can see that the direct thread mount has it almost right up against the handguard, but not quite. A little bit of space there. But this is a really nice, light little package. Get a law folder on there, and this would be a perfect little backpack gun. As you can see, it swaps between hosts really well, and it doesn't make any of them crazy unwieldy or add a ton of weight. At least that is my opinion. Now, because the base of this has the industry standard thread pitch, you can go with just about any attachment method that you want. You can get chemo, obviously. There's a whole bunch of other direct threads and different weird locking systems that you can look into that this will be compatible with because of all of that. But the one that I decided to go with, I think is important to talk about in this review because it makes the suppression better, in my opinion. So I went with the Xeno system, which is fairly new from DeadAir. I think it's only been out for a little more than a year, which is as long as I've had this guy for. I think it's been out for about 1.5 years. So I started doing research when I was first looking into the Nomad, trying to figure out how I could get the benefits of direct thread, but also the benefits of quick attach. And that ended up coming in the form of the Xeno system. So I have the Xeno mount that is in here, and then my 223-556 AR has a Xeno brake, and so does my 6.5 Creedmoor. And the reason why I like that is because if you take a look at the mount here, you'll notice that we have a taper and we have the threads, and then obviously with the brake we've got holes coming out all directions. So all those things do a couple really cool things for us. First of all, attaching it, super easy. It is left-hand threaded, which has its quirks, but I've learned to like that. But I just throw it on, give it a couple spins and snug it, and we're good to go. It's attached to that taper, and I don't have to worry about it going anywhere, which was my main concern with left-handed threading. But really easy to get on and really easy to get off. Very quick as well. You'll notice it's not taking me a ton of time. There are some ratcheting systems that take the same amount of time as the Xeno. So now our 6.5, which we do a lot of swapping between these two firearms specifically, and we're on, and we're away, and we're ready to go. So again, I get the benefits of accuracy that come with direct thread, because it is threading directly on to this brake. But then I also get some of the benefits of being able to take it on and off very quickly. The last benefit that I will talk about has to do with the brake specifically, because they do have a birdcage flash hider version of the Xeno brake, but I went with this because of the way that it distributes gas evenly in a big circle. The blast chamber for this suppressor goes to about there. So that first big chamber, because of this, is now acting as a big baffle of its own. And I think that may be one of the reasons why it suppresses so well using the brake. I will say that this also works really nicely, just direct threading it with the direct thread mount that it comes with, especially for 300 blackout. I am planning on getting a Xeno to go on this specifically, just to make it easier to take the suppressor off and put it back on. Won't have to deal with removing this mount every time, which I look forward to. So I think I saved the best part for last, and that is talking about the sound signature specifically. So I tend to ignore ratings from companies because a lot of data is skewed, they take it in different ways, and it's very confusing. So what I like to do, and I have the luxury of having a friend who is a suppressor dealer, and so I can go out with him to his range and we can throw on whatever suppressor it is we want and test it on my specific firearms and then decide if that's the one that I like or not. That's actually how I ended up with the Nomad in the first place. Is this buddy of mine, every time I came out and shot with him, he would let me throw the Nomad on my AR, and over time I decided that that is the sound signature that I wanted. So I ended up going with the Nomad. So what I'm trying to say is a lot of it is subjective. This tone is really good to me, but somebody else might like a 5.56 can, the tone of that very specifically on their AR, and that's totally fine. To each his own. But what I want to do is I want to set up a target and test this thing out on all three calibers that we have here. So you're going to hear some 300 blackout shots from about 100 yards. You're going to hear 5.56 223 from 100 yards, which I did in the first video. I'm going to do it again. And then you're going to hear some 6.5 Creedmoor from 100 yards. Again, I'm like pretty sure this is more hearing safe than my AR-15 in 223-556. So there are the comparisons for you. I think you'll agree that the DeadAir Nomad did a fantastic job on all 3 of those calibers. And again, I think that you could go all the way up to the tippy top of its rating and it would perform really well. And for this reason, because of the amazing performance that I've experienced in these first 2,000 rounds, I'm going to highly recommend that if you are looking for a first suppressor, that the DeadAir Nomad is the one that you go with. If you want something a little bit longer that's gonna definitely suppress a little bit better because of the length and the extra volume, then go for the Nomad L. I think it adds 2 inches if I'm not mistaken, so that would bring it up to like 8.25 inches without any mounts or anything. And my guess is that it's not going to be crazy heavier either, so you're just going to get that extra length and the sound suppression. It's probably going to sound really, really good for you. But the Nomad is good to freaking go, and I actually am wanting really bad to get a dedicated one for my 300 blackout and a dedicated one for my 6.5 Creedmoor. That is how much I love it. I also love the Xeno mount. Thought I wasn't going to be crazy about the left-hand threading, but even though it's got its quirks, you can figure it out and it can work really, really well for you guys. Guys, if you liked this video, I'd appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. If you're interested at all in any of the affiliates that I talked about at the beginning of the video, head down to the description and check out the links that are down there. And as always, I will catch you later.